Hi guys. I cleaned this up a little bit just because I didn't like the way it was. I changed the color of the button and the text over here to white. Right here it is. And I changed the button style. It was just standard and I changed it to flat, and then I went over here in the flat appearance and I changed the border size. And also what I had to do was, it wanted to keep it kind of a silver control color. I made sure that the black background color was sky blue. And so let's look on the inside of the code. We've got our array of strings. We could have used a list, but array is good. And we don't have to define it like this. We can, in fact, let's use a list. Let's choose a list because we're not going to know how many we have up front. Okay, so we'll say list string and equals name list. We'll use arrays later. Okay, and then the list is part of this collections and component models. If you just do your standard WinForm, you should have it, but if like forever you do just a plain class, you might have to add those into the top of it. So we've got our list, name list, and we can start it off here. We can initialize it as a blank list if we want. Okay. But you don't have to. We could have said equals new list over here before we did this. But anyway, what we're going to do is, we don't care about the output label right now. Let's comment that out. We'll use it for something else. And when we click OK, we're going to add a name to our name list. So let's say name list, add, and we're going to say name text box dot text. Okay, and so, and we're going to pull up the debugger, and you will see. So how we use the debugger is over here on the left side, you kind of mark you a breakpoint that you want to check, although I don't want to check that all the time. And so we'll see how this fills up our list for us, okay? So let's run this real quick. And this is a small list. I mean, a real simple list. We'll be doing more complicated lists. So let's say enter 3 names, but we're going to change that. We'll say Cindy. Click OK. Okay, so it went in here and it added us one to the list. Right now, if we kind of hover over this, it will see our list has got one entry in it. It starts at a 0 because it starts at 0 and it's called Cindy. Now, if we was using an array, well, one, you cannot add to an array. You have to know how many array entries you need up front. So we're going to do a list first, and then we're going to do an array. So I'm going to hit F5, or I can hit this green arrow to go, and it brings back up. So then I'm going to click mark. Okay. And now I can see I've got 2 in the list, Cindy and Mark. So I'm going to hit F5 again to go. And then I'm going to type Tracy. And click OK. And then we'll see we have 3 in the list. Okay. And so let's go. And so that's pretty much that experiment. One thing, we don't really want the word output here. So we're going to initialize that. And another thing too, if we clicked OK again, it would add Tracy again because we've got it in 4. Now see, we've got 4 and we've got Tracy and Tracy. Anyway, let's break this out by hitting the red box there. And what else are we going to do? We're going to zero out, space out this output label so it doesn't show us anything. We're going to make its text equal to space. So instead of a list, let's try this with an array. Let's click that with an array. And so we're going to just start off our array at entry of 4. Okay, we're going to say a string, and this is how you do an array. We'll call it names equals, we'll say there's 4 entries, but we don't have to have 4. We're just saying 4 for here. In fact, let's just say new string, and instead of 4, let's do 3. So I'll have Cindy, Mark, and Tracy. So let's comment this out because we don't have a name list anymore. And do we have a counter set up yet? Yes, we've got our counter. And so we were already checking this output. Now we need to check for our counter. If counter greater than 1, 2, 3, then we're going to have an error. Else we're going to do something. Or we didn't have to say greater than 3. It's just whatever you want to do. So if we said there's 3 names, this is going to be 0, 1, and 2. So we're going to say if it's greater than 2. And we're going to say not greater than. Or we can say less than or equal to. There's just a whole lot of ways of doing things. And then we can say name, and then in a square bracket you use the counter count. Now we call that names. So this is going to be names, and we'll change this back to small n. Equals name text box dot text, just like the other one. So if the counter is less than or equal to 2, we're going to add that name in. And our counter starts off at 0. So when we get done, we're going to increment the counter. You can either do like a count equals count plus 1, or you can do count plus plus to increment it. So let's try this one. And this is going to be using an array instead of a string list. But it's basically the same thing. And so let's start it. So we'll start off with Cindy. Okay, so now we've got 3s, and then we've got our first entry, and the other 2 are null. So I'm hitting F5, and then we're going to type Tracy. And that's the difference, is you have to have the array define the size of it before you start using it. And I clicked F5, and then we'll say Mark. Okay. And now we've got these filled up. And let's see if it goes over here. So it was less than or equal to 2. So let's see what happens now. Nothing, because we already used all we were supposed to use. And if for some reason you did not check for that less than or equal to 2, it would crash on you. I will show you that, what it does. I'll show you the kind of error you'll get. So let's go ahead and comment this out. I did, and just to show you what would happen if we just kept incrementing. So now we're going to start it back up. So Cindy, and then we'll do it another time. That makes 2 Cindys and 3 Cindys. Now we're going to do it a 4th time. Now it should crash on us, and it's crashing on. It says in system index out of range, and what it did was this count went up to 3, but we do not have an array of 4, and that's what it would need it to be, because we can look at the arrays, and right now it's filled up. So anyway, the next lesson we're gonna do something with a number box. Okay, bye-bye. Oh, one more thing before I forget, please subscribe to my channel.